I know. Kelly, you made us all a wreck, but I love you for it. Charlonda, you also had to fight to get a good education for your children, your students. And in North Carolina, you found a program that has worked for you. So I'd love to hear a little bit more about that.
Well, once again, thank you for being here. I am honored to sit on this panel with these ladies and this gentleman. The best that I have to offer this world leaves the house wearing 2 book bags. One wears Paw Patrol and the other one wears Master Chief. That is the best I have to offer. My job is to make sure that they are prepared to become productive citizens. When my 14-year-old Amori went to kindergarten, he went into an environment that was chaotic and unstructured. He was given busy work because he could tie his shoes and because he could write his name. And that was extremely frustrating because that's not the environment a kindergartner should be in. I took those concerns to the administration, and those concerns were met with frustration. They threw their hands up. The class was full. What do you expect us to do? So at that time, my only alternative was a private school. He went into a private school in kindergarten, and he flourished. He was reading in the 3rd month. He was writing in cursive. This child just completely flourished. Well, life changed for me, and I could no longer afford that private school education, and he had to go back into the public sector. When he went back to a system that was worse than what he left. He went into a chronically failing school that was not just failing and low performing, but it wasn't safe. He didn't have books. He was bullied by students, and he was bullied by teachers. A teacher actually said to him that he didn't relate to his peers because he didn't talk Black. Now, I have no idea what that means, but to come from a professional, it was infuriating. I saw this wonderful, energetic child become isolated and withdrawn. He was becoming a person that I didn't recognize, and that angered me. And so, by any means necessary, I had to get him out of that system. And I was doing a Google search when I found the Opportunity Scholarship. And it was like the heavens opened. This is wonderful. It just seemed too good to absolutely be true. So when they called and said that he had been accepted, I hung up on him. I thought it was a joke. And when she called back and was like, no, this is for real, I could have fainted. He went into that school in January of the new year, and this child became the bubbly person that I knew before. Like Walter, he was like, I don't want to be late. I got to meet my teacher. I don't want to be late. I said, well, Maury, you don't have to be there to 7:30. It's 6:45. We got time. I don't want to be late. So I drop him off. He'd be the first person there, and have a good day. I now have a 4-year-old who has some special needs, and he'll be entering kindergarten soon. My 4-year-old was stillborn. And so by the grace of God, he lives today. He does have some brain damage, and he has 1 functioning limb. He has 1 arm. He's a 1-armed person. But I don't see that as a deficit for him. However, the public school system does. They don't see the possibility. They don't see the greatness in him that I see. I know a public school kindergarten class is not appropriate. The first placement they wanted to give him was to Edgewood, which is a developmental school. And at Edgewood Developmental, you have children who are on feeding tubes and are on wheelchairs, and some of them are nonverbal. That's fantastic if that's what your child needs. But that's not what my Julian needs. They looked at his physical disability and treated him like his mind was on vacation. And I didn't appreciate that. So when the educational savings accounts in North Carolina, and shout out to the legislators and the Lieutenant Governor from North Carolina, I thank you so much for bringing the Opportunity Scholarship and for the educational savings account, the Children with Disabilities grants, and I hope that we can expand it so no parent has to make the choice between, am I gonna pay the rent or am I gonna pay the tuition? That's a hard decision to make. Every school, from kindergarten to elementary to high school in the district I'm supposed to attend, is a failing school. I don't have the option to go out of district because they took that. So you don't have an option and you don't have a choice. Well, failure is not an option at my house. So the Opportunity Scholarship gave me an option, and it gave my children choice. And I'm grateful for that choice.
so interesting about that is all across America, every morning, millions of kids get out of a car or a bus and go into schools that are going to virtually ensure that they don't reach their potential. And you know that as a parent. You see your child as a happy, funny, go-lucky person, and then you put them in a school that doesn't see them as that. Can some of you talk a little bit about the after you found, the change in your children after they found a good fit? Like, what changes in the world? Once you get a good fit, what changes?
I'm excited to go first for that one. Okay, Amori is a very quirky child, okay? He's a little different. Yeah.
Does he have a Spider-Man shirt?
Huh?
Does he have a Spider-Man
he's
shirt?
Batman.
Oh, he's got a Batman shirt, okay. Okay, I'm gonna have to talk to him about his choices. All right.
But in the public school system, his quirkiness was not seen as a positive. In this private school sector, his quirkiness is a positive. He's excelling on the football team. He excels in track. I didn't even know the boy could run fast. He's showing his skills on the basketball court. Another thing I didn't know he could do. He's a great artist. Didn't know that either. All these dots and things that he's coming up with. He has a love of science. He took the SAT as an 8th grader, and he scored high enough as an 8th grader to be admitted into college. That wouldn't have happened in a public school setting. He's excited because he has books, and books that he can bring home. And that shouldn't be something that excites a school-age child, to be able to have books. But he's excited about books. He talks more about the future when he didn't see a future. When you would ask him before he left public school, what do you want to be? And he would say a high school senior, because he didn't see past that. You ask him today what he wants to be, and it's either he wants to be a cartoonist because he wants to make Batman thinner, or he wants to be a shoe designer, or he wants to be an engineer, or he wants to be an occupational therapist because he wants to add more help to help his little brother. But the private school opened up a side that he could be himself, and it was okay to be that quirky kid at 14 that still carries Batman everywhere he goes.
I mean, some would argue that he could be a 49-year-old man with a pink tie who's still